Well, welcome back to All Day Live, 12:16 on this Thursday afternoon. Hope you're having a good one, and we're really glad that you're spending part of your day with us. In the next couple of days, we are going to be talking with two of Minnesota's most prominent political figures. Tomorrow, we're going to sit down with Democratic Senator Tina Smith, who, as many of you know, is not seeking re-election after about 7 years in the Senate. And today, we're catching up with Republican Congressman Tom Emmer, a lifelong Minnesota politician who's also served as House Majority Whip since 2023. Thanks so much for joining us, Congressman.
Good to be with you, Amy.
So are you at home now, or where are you?
I am in Minnesota. I am not at home. I am speaking to you from the Sartell Government Center. We just visited the great police department. The police chief and his officers delivered him a little pizza, saying thanks for everything they do for the community.
Oh, that's great. All right. Well, we're glad you're back home. You got some busy times ahead of you when you head back to D.C. I just wanted to set expectations for folks who are watching. We have about 15 minutes or so here, so we're going to try to cover a lot of ground. We're of course going to dig in on some issues that people want to know about. A little bit later, we might talk some hockey if you're okay with that as well. So we're gonna try to do it all. Let's start though with the president's One Big Beautiful Bill Act. So narrowly passed in the House. Your job as whip is to get people on board, obviously. So can you give us a glimpse of what went on behind the scenes to get there?
So it's always going to be a narrow vote. Doesn't matter what it is. When you only have 3 to give, basically, it's always going to be a very close vote. The key is making sure that you have the votes. And it took a lot of work. This is something that the House had been working on for over a year, Amy. We started working on it back in April of last year because we learned from experience that the last time there was this opportunity, which was before I was in the leadership group, nobody expected Donald Trump to be in office, so nobody was ready when he got here. This time we want to make sure that we were ready. The bill that we ultimately passed, not only was the foundation built for months before the end of last year and before the Trump administration started, but the second we hit the ground on January 3rd, you had to start working through the details with all of our members. And I think the key is, like anything else in life, is making sure that everyone feels involved and part of the process. I think the problem you have in politics is when one or more people start to feel as though they're being ignored, their voice is not being heard. And you have to remember that everyone in Congress is representing some 700,000 or more people as their voice. And they came to Washington to make a difference, regardless of what party they're in. And for us to get the votes, they've got to feel like they were part of making that difference.
And you've talked about the fact that you believe it's accountability to government programs, creates growth tax code, prioritizing the working class. Senator Tina Smith, who we had on live on our air yesterday and who we'll talk to again tomorrow, laid out some criticisms, though, from Democrats. So I just wanted to run through a couple of these and have you respond directly to them if you would. She says that she's concerned that this is going to cut out Medicaid for about 250,000 Minnesotans, and she's been told also that she doesn't believe that some hospitals will survive this. So what do you say to that?
Well, I think Tina should make sure that she's got those facts before she makes those statements. I would say first, when it comes to Medicaid, we didn't cut anyone from Medicaid. That's just not true. I suspect, I shouldn't say, there are 1.4 million illegal aliens who will no longer be on Medicaid. That is accurate. But the rest of the people that she is, I would imagine, referring to may or may not be on Medicaid, depending on the work requirements, which are very modest. I think you have to volunteer some 20 hours a month in some charity, or you have to be actively looking for a job, or you have to be in school. And Amy, this only applies to able-bodied, working-aged, single adults without dependents. So if you can't work, you're not losing your coverage at all. If you can work, well, you just have to show that you're trying to move in that direction. It's an incentive to get people back into the workforce.
Will some people, though, fall through the cracks, Congressman, do you think?
That is the job that we're going to have to make sure the administration is paying attention to. The whole goal is to eliminate the waste, fraud, and abuse that has grown in this federal government and in these programs, for instance, over the last several decades. This isn't just a Republican-Democrat problem. This is a federal government problem. So as you start to put these reforms in, you're going to find places where maybe you need to make adjustments. We'll do that. But as for right now, it's wildly popular with the American people. I think it's close to 75% of Americans believe that reasonable work requirements for able-bodied, working-aged, single adults without dependents is a good thing.
And the other one I just wanted to hit on here quickly that she brought up is she was saying that this will erase food benefits or SNAP benefits for about 440,000 Minnesotans. So what's your response to that?
Again, this is pushing a narrative that you got to get into the details. The details are the SNAP program is literally being made more efficient. You've got states who have been using the program in ways that aren't intended. Certain people are getting SNAP benefits that if, again, they're able-bodied, working-age single adults without children, you want them to be looking to get into the workforce rather than being on the SNAP program. But I think the senator should point out, no one's been cut off the program. That will be their choice. If they're not able to sustain themselves, my understanding is they'll have access to the benefit. If they are able to sustain themselves and they're at least showing an effort to do that, they'll be able to maintain the benefit. If not, the goal is to get them into the workforce so that they can support themselves and sustain themselves.
And the last thing I want to ask you about the bill, so obviously it's gone through the House. It needs to still go through the Senate. We see, someone like Elon Musk criticizing it a few days ago, now stepping down from the administration. Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, you may have seen this as well, said that he feels that there is enough concern to, he says, slow this bill down. So is there enough support, you think, to get it through, not even as is, even if there are changes? Like, what does it look like ahead of you right now?
Well, the bill is going to pass, and it will ultimately become law. But the next step is the same step that we just went through in the House with a much greater number of people, right? We've got 220 Republicans, and that's only roughly half of the House. In the Senate, you're dealing with 100 people. You're dealing with 53 Republicans. Yeah, you're going to hear that kind of stuff, but I believe it's going to pass. They're deciding right now, Amy, if they take it through the committee markup process, which may not make sense because the bill is basically constructed. I think the Senate's going to want to make some changes in different places. Certainly they'll do that. I expect that once they do that, that will pass. The goal is by July 4th to have it all done. So once it passes the Senate with whatever changes, it will come back to the House. Then there will be a conference committee with the House and the Senate to finalize it. And I believe it'll go to the president's desk. And regardless of who it is, Ron Johnson, who I'm a huge fan of, we've got the same people on our side of the building. They need to be part of the process. They need to understand what the plan is, how you're going to get this budget deficit balanced. What is the plan to pay off the debt? How do we do all this while making sure that government is run efficiently in a way that people get the benefits that they expect to get, that government provides what it's supposed to provide, while at the same time not driving this country further into bankruptcy.
Okay, we have about 5 minutes left here, so I want to try to get through as much as I can. But I'm really curious, how much do you actually get to talk directly with the president, and what is your relationship with him like?
My relationship with the president, I would say, has never been better. The president, I think, appreciates the fact that I have an opinion, and I'm not afraid to give it, but I don't talk about it in public. That's between the president and myself, as it always has been. And he's incredibly accessible. I haven't done the history. There are probably some history profs out there that can do this much better than me. But I'm going to argue, based on my personal experience, that Donald J. Trump might be one of the most accessible presidents to members of Congress that we've ever had.
We know that part of what fuels the president is, being around people who support his agenda. Do you feel like he also listens to people who vehemently disagree with him? And does he not only listen, but take some of that in and try to, change the way he feels about things? Or is he pretty set?
The president is great about letting people battle ideas out in front of him. He will have this tug and pull of different opinions. Frankly, people who come from different walks of life. But at the end of the day, what makes him special in my mind in politics, he'll make a decision. We have way too many people in politics that sit there wringing their hands saying, what if, how? This president literally will take that information and at the end of the day recognizes that he's the chief executive. So he's the one that's going to make the final call. And that's the thing I think I appreciate most about him. When he makes the call, he makes the call and we move forward. And when it works, great. If it doesn't, we'll modify it as we go forward.
You hear this, I'm sure, a lot, just as we do in the media, that people feel like, many people feel like this country has never been more divided, particularly politically. And, a lot of people say they're just so tired of the constant attacks and the grandstanding. I mean, it's tale as old as time in politics, but particularly right now. Do you hear that? How does that make you feel? Do you agree with that?
Well, I give you two sides of this coin. The first one is let's live in today. Right now, more than 50% of Americans believe this country is on the right track. That's incredible considering where we've been over the last 8 years. And I would say to you, the other piece, that's the message sent on November 5th. It wasn't just about the economy to me. It wasn't just about the border. When you see how Donald Trump moved the needle with young people, more young people voting for a Republican presidential candidate than I've seen in my lifetime, when you see how he moved the needle with traditional Democrat voters, working men and women, black voters, Asian voters, Hispanic voters, even liberal Jews, this traditional base, I think, especially the young people, Amy, I think they were telling us we are sick and tired of everybody pointing the finger at each other and never getting anything done. So the goal here is to show Donald Trump ran on specific things. He said what he was going to do. Now it's up to those of us in Congress to make sure that we help him honor those promises. And I think the voters will reward us for that in the 26 midterms.
All right. We're coming up on, I'm just watching this clock closely. I want to be respectful of your time. I know you have a lot of places you need to be today. With our final sort of 90 seconds or so, I do want to ask you about hockey, because we are so very proud here of our Minnesota Frost, who just won a back-to-back championship. And I know that hockey has been a big part of your life. Did you get to see any of the playoffs, the championship? How are you feeling?
So I didn't get to see much. And it's funny, I do follow, Amy. What was interesting to me is here's this team that won the first inaugural championship a year ago. And they started the season. They really struggled during the season. It was interesting to see how they had to fight to get into the playoffs. And then as a Minnesotan and an American, how sweet was it that they not only won their second women's professional championship, but they did it in Ottawa.
Yeah.
To my Canadian friends, all right, we do win games in Canada. So it's, no, it was great. And I'm happy for the sport. I think it's a great thing that women's professional hockey seems to be on the rise and is growing. It gives opportunities for young women, great athletes. And Amy, it is the greatest sport that was ever invented. It was given directly to us from God above, because we know ice can only exist in heaven. Well, then you're not going to like this. So hot off the presses, Wallet Hub just crunched the numbers, Congressman, to determine the best places for hockey enthusiasts. 76 U.S. cities, based on about 20 different key indicators. St. Paul came in number 13. Amy, you know that's fake news. You know that's fake news. If there ever was fake news.
Can you do something about this in Congress? I mean, is there anything that you can do? Because this is a travesty. Boston, number 1, Detroit, number 2, Pittsburgh, 3, New York, Newark, Denver. I mean, Sunrise, Florida, number 7. I don't know what's going on here, but I had to bring this to your attention because
you know that
outraged.
it was probably taken the morning after the Wild were eliminated by the Vegas Knights.
Could have been.
That's probably what.
Could have been. All right, Congressman, we need to let you go. You got to move on with your day. Maybe we can get you back another time with some more time so we can cover the 24 other topics that I was hoping to get to today. But we appreciate your time. We'll have Senator Tina Smith on tomorrow, ask her a lot of the similar questions here. So we appreciate your time.
Thanks, Amy.
Okay,
appreciate you.
Take care. All right.